What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to our final episode of the season finale of Rev Rock Revolution. Woo! What's going on? My name is Nick Valley.
My name is Jonah Doc and
once again, this is Rev Rock Revolution. All right. Okay, welcome, guys, everybody. I want to get right into this because we got a lot to cover in this episode, and I feel like we're going to need to barrel through this if we want to get this done. So, big topic of discussion. I know everybody's been talking about it. Look at us. It's the first time we're less than a minute in, and we're getting right into subject.
Yeah, we're getting right straight to it.
And I'm ruining it right now.
So every time we have a good transition, we ruin it.
But that's part of the show, right? I mean, I feel like that's our dynamic. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
By the way, I want to preface this entire episode with Jonah and I spoke on the phone for like 2.5 hours like the other day. So we're like revved up. Hey, see what I did there? Hey, revved up. Anyways, what I was going to get into is I know what's everybody's mind is the House decision, the U.S. House decision to ban TikTok. Okay, this is going to be some hot topics on this episode today. Jonah, I'm going to throw you. I'm always in the hot seat, whether it's in like last week, clearly. So let's throw you in the hot seat. What is your opinion on all of this?
Yeah, well, here, before I say my opinion, I'll just catch everyone up to speed on like what actually went there. Right now in Congress, they're trying to
stalling.
Yeah. Dude, this is for all the listeners that don't know what's going on. So then they could actually realize what's going on. So Congress is voting to pass a bill where the government can ban any app that's owned by or that's not owned by a US company. Pretty much TikTok. Yeah, but I think I feel like a lot of people in our generation are going to hate it because TikTok is their lives and people make money off TikTok and people spend 10 hours a day just going that like text on screen listening, watching Subway Surf for a while.
Sad.
Yeah, it's sad. I think it's going to be a good thing for society.
I think it would be a great thing for humanity. Not that humanity wouldn't just flock over to Reels and YouTube Shorts, but I mean, there's something about, and I think you can agree with this, there's something about the culture of TikTok that is so negative. It is so draining. It's not like when you're on Reels or you're on YouTube Shorts, it just has this different energy about it. TikTok has this like, and maybe, I don't know, because it's run by Chinese government or whatever, who knows, but it has this, it just automatically gives you this feeling of like, I fucking like, I hate my life and everything about it.
Craziest stuff. TikTok is also where both you and I have gotten the most hate comments, I feel. Like on our
most, and we're going to talk about that.
We're going to
talk about that. We get the craziest comments on TikTok. I'm just going to say that. But we're going to talk about that in a second. But Jonah, on your point and what you're saying, yeah, it's like there's something about I've noticed for myself the more time I don't even use TikTok anymore, but that small window of period, there was a couple months there when I used TikTok every single day, and I started to get sucked into not just being a creator on, because when you're a creator and you post multiple times a day like I was at a certain point, you get so stuck and trapped in it that you start to become a consumer as well as a creator. So you're just living on that app. And for me, living on that app, that is the most depressed. I went through this thing. It was kind of weird. Jonah knows all the specifics of it, like this period of time. And it was heightened by some personal tragedies at the same time. And Jonah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that was the worst I ever felt about myself in my entire life was that period of time where I was on TikTok. And I think that's why our generation, it's a huge factor. I'm not going to say why. That's a very broad and very dangerous statement to claim. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I think it's contributed. It's not a coincidence that all these mental health issues, obviously COVID as well, ignited that. But COVID's been over. And I think the reason that the mental health issues in our generation have been so bad is because of social media and especially TikTok. TikTok has I can't name one positive thing besides make money for certain people, for consumers. I can't name one positive thing for consumers that TikTok has done.
No, I agree, because I feel like before, or like, or TikTok, you spend hours a day, you think that you're enjoying it, but you're actually not, and you're not learning anything.
No.
You're just watching short videos that gives you little dopamine rushes here and there, and by the end of
drugs. It's like drugs.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an addiction. People just get addicted to it.
Think about this: when people are high, ask rock stars from the '80s. They'll tell you, "Oh yeah, when I was doing heroin, I was feeling great. I felt on top of the world. But afterward, that crash is the worst thing I've ever felt in my life." And it's very similar to what it does to our brains. What drugs and alcohol do to our brains are like the same thing that like social media. If you look at the studies, that's just fact. Like the way it affects our brain is very similar. That should tell you something about social media in general.
Yeah, it's dangerous. That's why I don't like social media. It's extremely dangerous.
Well, that's part of the reason. The other part is it's supposed to connect us, but it makes us so fragmented and disconnected because everything's run by algorithms. Everybody's so fractured into their own kind of subcultures, and then those subcultures are so toxic. It's like there's nothing redeeming about this. All the creators are fighting for attention 24/7. I mean, we're not supposed to live in a world where we're supposed to be like me all the time. And then as consumers on the other end, you're constantly judging people all the time. That does not build good character.
No, it doesn't at all.
There's nothing positive about it.
It's terrible.
So yeah, this is our hot take, and you can disagree with us all you want, but Jonah and I are I'm at least firm. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for you. You can say whether or not, but I'm firm on the stance that this would be a very good thing if TikTok were to go away.
Yeah, I'm definitely firm stance that if TikTok went away, it'd be good. Yeah, and I feel like we were talking about it on like world terms, but I feel like if we also like for music, I feel like it will also bring a lot of big change, and it will be really good as well. Well,
I'll say this. I feel like culture, and I just had this epiphany the other day. It's another one of my famous Nick Valley epiphanies, Jonah. You ready for this? All right. So here's the newest little bit of gold. What I just thought to myself recently was, if you think about it, every time that it's not like music, like you say, oh, it'll affect music too. Culture tends to affect everything. If you think of the 70s or the 80s or the 90s or the 2000 or the time we live in now, even when the culture is affected, everything's affected. Fashion, movies, TV, music. You know what I mean? Like in the 80s, everything was larger than life and cheesy, and in the 90s, everything was like real and toned down and like serious and like just not really overdone at all. And like, if you think everything, culture affects everything, and the culture we live in right now as a society has made everything bad. The social media age has made everything bad.
Okay, guys. So this might be a weird, abrupt little pause in the episode. You'll probably notice that we're wearing different clothes. There is reasoning for this. So in the middle of filming that episode, which was a couple of days ago now, my internet just completely cut out. Everything cut out. My power. So there's some hilarious footage of, while I was trying to boot that back up, of Jonah, me over the phone talking, and Jonah trying to entertain you guys. It's incredibly, and that if you guys stay to the end of the episode, we've included that in there as a little blooper. This is fun, right? It's our season finale. It feels like something should have been like something exciting and different. It's a perfect timing for this. So I don't want to interrupt what we were talking about because I feel like I was onto something. But what were we going to say real quick?
I was going to say this is a little different because we're actually putting some editing into our videos.
Yeah, we usually just fucking wing it. So, so much stuff that's going to come back to bite us in the ass that we should have spent 5 minutes taking out. But whatever. It is what it is. Cancel us. We don't care. At least I don't. So like I was getting at, Jonah, if you remember, we were having a discussion about TikTok. We agreed that it should go away. This is not a positive thing for our community. And then we started talking about how culture affects everything and the negative culture of social media affecting everything. And I believe the last thing I said before I cut out was I was about to talk about TV. And I think TV has benefited because of social media culture and its short form storytelling format. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's how stories are told on social media. So I feel like TV is done really effectively and is really more original than like any other time period, in my opinion. But the reason I think movies is because long form content has completely just like is not even an idea in our heads anymore. So everything is a remake or a sequel of something. You know what I mean? It's like if we haven't seen it before, we're not interested. So I feel like everything is a remake or a sequel of something. And as far as music goes, they need it for their TikTok dances and the background and fit their lifestyle. So music has become really dumbed down. So yeah, I'm sure you agree with me. I think every decade culture has influenced every aspect of art and entertainment.
No, I agree. I forget the quote, but there is a quote that's pretty much what you said. Like culture culture can be seen inside art. Because it's an emotional response pretty much. If there's troubled times, people will write about that in music, and music is a very emotional, raw thing when it's not curated by the music industry.
Yeah, which is interesting. You know what it is? I feel like because music isn't right now, because even though we're kind of in a weird, everybody would agree it's a weird time to be alive right now, and I don't think anybody's happy. It's probably the saddest people are right now. You know, mental health problems are like skyrocketed through the roof more than ever. But I think the reason the music is still so dull is because, and this goes back into fashion too, and like, I feel like we live in the first, do you remember, it wasn't last episode, it was a couple episodes, but do you remember when I said that thing about how this is the first generation that's nostalgic about a time they never lived in?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we're not as innovative. We keep going back. We keep wanting to go back.
So what I think is happening is within that, our culture is being affected by that mindset. So that's why our fashion, why it's like, okay, every couple of years it'll be like 80s is in, 90s is in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that 70s thing is in. Musically, people like, oh yeah, disco's in for like 5 seconds, and like we're not trying to innovate anymore. And I think everyone's so confused and doesn't know where they are right now, which reflects in society, which is why everything culturally keeps calling back to old shit.
That's so true.
It makes perfect sense.
Like that makes so much sense.
You know what
sense.
I mean? It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, it's just some deep rooted shit, but like on like a basic structure level, at the foundation, everything stems back to the culture. And I think that, you know, my point in saying all of this is I think with the progression of where music is heading, where I see things heading, there have been some better movies that have come out lately. Where I see everything heading, I think culture in general, with TikTok, if TikTok gets banned, all of this stuff, I think the culture is shifting in the right direction.
I agree. Yeah, with TikTok being gone, people are gonna want another outlet for their media consumption, and it will go back to the movies, to the music, and we already see like the movies and music, like you said.
Yeah, we're seeing it happen slowly.
We're seeing it start
and I think
get better, more creative. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I think there's going to be some drastic shifts. I think there's going to be some drastic shifts that are going to happen culturally within the next couple of years that are going to force us to keep moving forward and do something different. Because either we end up in a really bad place internationally, like globally, like God forbid, I don't even want to get into war or anything like that. But whatever it is, whatever that major moment in history is going to be, some sort of shift, something with social media, some sort of innovation, some sort of travesty, there's always something like that propels culture forward when it's being hindered. And ideally, it's something positive, but at this rate, it's probably going to be something negative. but a negative always equals a positive and vice versa. If you think about the cycle of history, it's like it's like that thing we talked about. You know what I'm talking about? How weak people create good times.
Good times
create weak people. You know, it's like that cycle. Weak times create strong people. Strong people create good times. Good times create weak people. It just keeps
it's
going
a cycle.
in a circle.
It's just history in people's environments around them. Yeah, which reflects.
Right now, we're in that weak people create weak times, in my opinion. And I think weak times are going to create very strong people, which are going to create really good times. And I think that's where we're heading right now.
Yeah, I think we're right in the middle of that part. So it will be
I'm just waiting for the bomb. Wait, whoa. That's a bad choice of wording, but I'm waiting for the bomb to drop.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. Anyways, this is the part we should be editing out, but we're not. So that being said, yeah, I think that's our main stance just on the social media. If you count all the time that we had from the last episode, we're already halfway through the episode. And we want to do what we intended on talking about in the last episode.
We completely forgot our plan.
We made a note of it and we completely forgot. Yeah, so Jonah, if you want to let our viewers in on that and you want to start the discussion, because I haven't shut up for 15 minutes.
So last episode after we finished, or 2 episodes ago after we finished, Nick and I were talking, and it was super funny. We started comparing talk boxes. This is how nerdy we are about music stuff. We started comparing our talk boxes and how we set them up. So we thought it would be a good idea to show off some of our gear for you gearheads out there. So how
think it would be cool.
Yeah,
I think it would be awesome.
You want to start with like some guitars?
That would be cool. Yeah, we could talk about the specs, and then we could talk about guitars, pedals, amp, any kind of special stuff we have.
Yeah. Let's do like our main rigs.
By the way, can we clarify for our viewers real quick? People don't know, so they don't think we're fucking like creepy pervs or something, what a talk box is. Because you said we were showing each other our talk boxes. That sounds very wrong.
Yeah, that sounds real. A talk box is here. Let me a pedal.
He's got it. I love it.
Yeah, is a pedal. Pretty much the sound of your guitar amp goes into here. It goes through a tube, and you have the tube in your mouth, and you make different shapes, and then it will imitate the vowels, but come out as the guitar noise. So like it's like wow, 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 kind of like that.
Yes, you can hear it on the opening track of Jinx's EP Lies. It's beautiful. It's so
Cheers
gorgeous.
to the inevitable end of our existence.
I love it.
Thank you. I love that song.
Oh, it's so good. Such a Megadeth name. It's such a Megadeth title, by the way. I'm just gonna say, and I love everything about it. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, no, but my talk box is bigger than your talk box. So let's start comparing guitars. Jonah, do you want to start the guitar show off, or do you want me to? Okay, go for it.
This is my Schecter. I think it's an E1S. Yeah, I haven't looked at the model.
You have to tell the viewers of that story about what happened with me and how you ended up getting a Schecter, because it's really funny.
So for the longest time, I've been looking for a guitar. I've loved these Explorer shaped guitars, and I didn't have one that quite fit my specs. Because I like having Floyd Rose. I need a super high output pickup. I wanted 24 frets. And I was looking for stuff, and then I narrowed it down to a couple things. And at the same time, Nick was looking for a guitar that he wanted to use for the road, and he ended up with a Schecter, which had similar specs. It was a different body shape, but he was like, "This guitar is awesome, but it's not right for me." So, and he's like,
it was just too metal for me, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told Jonah, I said, you need to get I feel like the Schecter is like, this is the brand that like your name could be attached to for like the rest of your career. Like it's that good for you. And he was like, okay. And I think you made the jump pretty quickly after that. It was not too long, if I remember.
Because I did a little bit more research, and I found the purple Explorer shape with a Floyd Rose, 24 frets, plus the Staniac, plus it has a hella good sounding pickup. Yeah, it does. It was perfect, and this is the guitar that I use in all of our live shows. This is my main guitar, and then my backup is my old Ibanez Destroyer, which is another.
Which you're gonna show off in a second.
Yeah, I'll show that one right now.
But was I right? Or was I right, Jonah?
You were
I feel like that guitar was perfect for you.
You are absolutely right. I'm gonna stick with Schecter, and it works out perfectly because one of my favorite guitarists right now, Sinister Gates of Avenged Sevenfold, is one of the biggest people. This is my Ibanez Destroyer. I love the Cherry Sunburst. This was like, that's
such a
first,
meat color. That's such a Phoenix color.
Guitar. Yeah, you want to know why I picked
really
this
is
one?
though.
Because
why?
I had the choice of getting this one or a black one. The reason I got this guitar specifically was because Paul Stanley used guitars like this, like shape-wise, and then I like the color because of Ace Frehley.
Don't tell each other that you said that.
Yeah. Dude, but I'm very inspired by
Wait, we're called back. Wait. We're called back to Kiss in the episode. It had to happen. Season finale. That is beautiful. But I do want to say that color couldn't be more Phoenix branded. Like that color suits like my whole brand perfectly.
Yeah, the Cherry Sunburst is like right down your lane.
I feel like I'm going to have to buy that off of you one day.
I am not
just gonna like bribe you backstage.
I am never selling this. I love this guitar. This guitar is.
I'm just fucking with you.
Every single one of the Jinx songs, I think.
Okay, you haven't recorded with the other guitar.
I record leads with that one, but rhythm tone.
Okay, that's smart. You know what? That's smart because then you have different pickup sounds and like gives you different. Yeah, that's smart. And harmonically, that just makes perfect sense. Speaking of Phoenix Burst, I'm gonna go get my beauty in the guitar when I return the Schecter. What I ended up with. Okay.
Let's see it.
So this is a PRS. This is a 2408 custom. It's got 24 frets. Really easy to play. Again, I have so the Schecter guitar I had a Floyd Rose. I wasn't really perfect for you. For me, it wasn't because I tend to play in different tunings and stuff. For me, it just didn't work. And I really wanted, so that was the first thing. Second off, I really love just the pure, like, look at that. Like, it's just, they're gorgeous. Just like the way that like they look are just like so pristine.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the finish of a PRS. There's nothing like it really. And it kind of has the mixture of like it's kind of like a super Strat, but like toned down. Because it kind of has some Les Paul qualities in there as well, kind of like combined.
Yeah, it's like the perfect combination of a Les Paul and Strat.
Exactly. The pickups are like medium. I didn't want low output pickups like my Strat. I didn't want like hot pickups like metal. I wanted something in between. The Floyd Rose is not Floyd Rose. The tremolo is really good. On this, the tuning is great. Like this thing, I mean, when it needs to be set up, it gets worse. But like, it's great. Like if you dive all the way down and go back up, you're totally fine. Something I really desperately wanted was a coil split because I like to on my clean sounds use the sound of like a single coil.
Yeah.
And then on the distorted, use the humbucker. And plus I have some light songs that need like lighter distortion, like when I'm recording and not like heavy, like in your face. So to use these really helped. I usually mainly go use the bridge pickup. You know, mostly because I like the, just brighter sound. But yeah, so I don't really like play around with this stuff too much, but I liked also the fact that this was down here and not up here because I would constantly
you
on
always
accident,
hit them.
like on my other guitars, which drives me crazy. And I tend to only like one pickup. So, I mean, it's kind of sounds like a waste, but like that's kind of just my specialized needs. If I were to update this thing, I'd probably put locking tuners on it. But the last thing that made this guitar perfect, the Phoenix finish. I mean, it's so on brand. Everything about this guitar to me is so on brand. And if you want to laugh, after I bought it, I filled out a survey of what guitar should you, and it was like 50 questions, and it was the PRS. It was a PRS that they told me I should buy after all the guitars. So I was like, yeah, this is just the perfect purchase for me.
It's
yeah, this is
the perfect
I never
classic
don't play
rock
this
guitar.
I feel right. It is, but it works for modern and classic rock. It's so versatile. This guitar. That's why. And I feel like my sound is so mixed in so many different eras, which is why it's perfect.
Yeah,
if I were to
it's
get
perfect.
another guitar, the only other guitar I would say that does that is kind of Wolfgang's new semi-hollow EVH design. I'm sure you saw those, right? The
I saw that.
SA
Those look
120.
sick.
I feel like that guitar would also.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to this. Like it's very versatile.
Yeah. I feel like
yeah,
all
but
the EVH
I love this guitar so much.
guitars are so versatile.
This is true. I feel like you should have one.
Huh? I do have an
I
EVH.
feel like you should have one. Okay, well, you should show them that.
Yeah. Here we go. We have. This is my most prized possession. We got this for a steal on Reverb. This is my 19.
Gotta love Reverb.
Yeah, 1991 EVH PV. This is when Eddie was making his guitars with PV, Wolfgang.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, I like this better than any of the newer models of the Wolfgang model, because all the newer models of the Wolfgang model have like a round top, and this is all just flat.
Mm-hmm.
So which I like,
Yeah.
because the round is like
True.
It doesn't feel comfortable, doesn't fit my body well, but
True.
I like this.
Yeah.
It was modded with a Seymour Duncan instead of the stock pickup. It has coil split,
Okay.
coil tap on both pickups.
Nice.
Yeah, basic 2 volume knob, because I never used a tone knob. So there's just
Yeah.
a volume knob for each pickup. Yeah, and then a Floyd Rose.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's real. That
I
thing
love
is
this
so
guitar.
beautiful. That's
Yeah.
crazy, man. Yeah.
I-
And it has the D-tuner too.
Yeah, it has. Oh yeah, it has the D-tuna. Yeah, this used to be
Sick
my
as fuck.
main show guitar, but then I was like, I would hate if someone stole this while
Yeah.
being out on the road. And like with the Schecter,
Yeah.
I don't really care as much, because those, even though it's expensive, they're more
You just get it. You
replaceable.
could get another one of
Yeah, I
those
could
too.
get another one, and
plus
it would
they have a
work the
warranty,
same.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's like you're not gonna find another one of those.
Yeah,
I would be
you're
careful.
not gonna find another
That's a
one of
studio
these.
guitar.
This is yeah.
That's a studio guitar.
This is on most.
Um,
This is on like half of our songs. I say like
I'm with
I
you.
think
Look-
Pretty Little Lies, Psycho, maybe even Dear Diary.
Yeah, I mean it sounds great. I it's just such a badass guitar.
Yeah. This...
Okay, so this is the Strat. You keep it in E flat. This is my E flat guitar. I love this Strat. So this is a special Strat. So when I found this, I was looking for a Strat. I'm not a fan of maple necks. For some reason, they just don't gel well with me. Like, they just feel very hard on my fingers. And I like smooth playing. I love rosewood, but the thing is, it's like rosewood is like kind of dangerous. So like morally, like they don't really make them as much anymore. So you kind of have to find older guitars to get rosewood guitars. And this is a rosewood. This is a Mexican Strat. Real from 2009. It's somewhere between 95 and 2009. I don't know when, but the build of this thing is just incredible. Everything about it. The only thing I did one mod with it. I had to put locking tuners on it. That helped it a lot. I do need to change. I think I'm gonna put a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a grip. Graph Tech.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a Graph Tech nut on this thing because I think it'll just help it stay in tune better. The middle pickup, and it's true. If you everything you hear is true. Yeah, everybody knows the neck pickup of a Strat. It's very iconic sound. You know that deep and warm,
very
and
bright,
obviously that
twangy.
the blaze of that, and then the other side of that as well. You know, the other tone, famous tone, the deep and rich tone. But what nobody ever talks about is the middle pickup. The middle pickup of the Strat, in my opinion, is perfect because it combines the best of both worlds. And the middle pickup on this thing is unbelievable. Like you said, I don't really play with tone. It's really just volume. I'm with you on that. I have to get this thing set up so it's not like fixed, because like I can't do like a lot with the tremolo except like vibrato, but that's just a setup thing. But yeah, it's great. This has been great. By the way, I forgot to mention with the PRS, I have a cloth that's sitting on the back of the springs. You know, like the screw, this on the back.
Yeah.
I have to put a cloth in between here and the springs,
So
or it
the
makes an
springs
awful
don't
sound.
ring. Yeah, I need to get those. There's special
but yeah.
springs you could get as well that just are noiseless, which I need to get.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just figured that was quicker, and it worked, so not too much of a hassle. But the feel of this thing, this is the easiest thing to play in the world, honestly, for me. And yeah, I mean, it sounds great. It feels great. I just have to fix some of the tuning issues, but that should be not too difficult. I had tuning issues with my Les Paul, which I'm about to show you. It's a knockoff Les Paul, and they were fixed immediately when I changed to a GraphTech. So I think I'm just going to do the same thing with this. And obviously the setup of it. But yeah, no, I love this thing. I've had it for a while. This was not my first guitar with a tremolo. I have a couple guitars that I no longer own. I don't know if you have that or if you've kept everything you own.
I've kept everything I own. I'd say like a quarter of the guitars I own though are in bits and pieces because I want to mod them and like do a whole revamp. Yeah, experiment.
Okay. I think I have one more thing to share, and then I want to talk about in the meantime. If you have any other like gear or anything real quick in front of you, if you want to pull out, just to let them talk about.
Here, wait. Let's see. I'm gonna turn this to my amp. Best amp ever, the Boss Katana. I love this thing. I've been working on my tone for it for probably 5 or 6 years, and yeah, I've crafted my perfect tone for right now until I could get way more expensive stuff like Kempers and bias. And once I get a fractal unit, then it's over.
I feel you. This is my Les Paul. It's a beautiful color. By the way, I forgot to mention every single one of my I can't believe I did this. This is actually pretty hilarious. Every single one of my guitars or instruments is named after a Wizard of Oz element. Now, I know when this began was with this guitar. So before I had this, I had a Keith Urban Learner guitar. But I ended up giving that to my little cousin. So I don't have that anymore. I have this. This was the first like guitar that I ever like was like really usable. Like not that those guitars weren't good, but like this was like a step up. It's a similar quality to an Epiphone. It plays really well, stays in tune really well after I added the, GraphTech. The thing about this guitar that is awful are the pickups. They just sound like fucking mud. So what I want to do with this eventually, I want to mod this thing, and I would have put in Fishman Fluence pickups.
Yes, those will sound
here.
so nice.
This is gonna sound amazing when it's done. But that's the only thing I want to do to this thing, because honestly, it's great. Other than that, this is gonna be my experiment guitar one day when I delve into modding. I'm gonna replace the tail and all of this stuff, but the bridge, all of that stuff. But just right now, that's the main focus would be the pickups, because they would be usable at that point. But yeah, that's all my guitars. I also have, I'll just pull the wall behind me. I also have basses and acoustic guitar behind me. Real quick, I'm just going to mention 2 things. Number 1, Joan remembers this too. I used to have a Sterling Music Man John Petrucci guitar. It was like aqua blue. And the like pickup, it just kept falling in. And then it created all these weird like string problems where they would get like crossed over. And apparently it was a common thing with those guitars. They just weren't built well. So I ended up trading it in. That's when I got the Schecter. That's when I traded that in, and I ended up getting the PRS. I used to have an Epiphone acoustic electric. I sold that, and I bought the acoustic that I have now, which is a Guild. acoustic guitar, and it sounds really great. It also just plays really well. The pickup in it is it's a Fishman Fluence. It's a Fishman, acoustic, active pickup. So it sounds great. But yeah, I love that guitar. Plays really well too. Acoustics are really a weird animal for me. Like they have to be really easy to play or it drives me nuts. And then I have 2 basses. One of them is my dad's, but the one that I have is the one he used to own, which is this Yamaha red bass, and it's behind me. I'm gonna pull.
Here's the
Okay,
bass.
so what kind of bass is this?
It's an Ibanez. This is one of the first basses my dad got. So it's probably like, because the first bass was this like pack of like it was like bass for dummies. It came with like a book and like a like $50 bass. Yeah, but this is like
That's funny.
Probably his second or third bass that he got. This is like the early days of Jinx, like when we were still a cover band. It's amazing. It has 3 knobs for EQ, high, mid, low, a knob for switching between the pickups, volume knob, and then switch to it switches it between passive and active pickups.
Nice.
Which is nice.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Look, Ibanez basses are great. I have one right there behind me. It's silver.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty much the same shape as well.
No, that's pretty much. Yeah, the Ibanez basses are great. It plays like a dream. That's my dad's one. That's a 5-string, a BTB. They don't make those any longer. But it's great. The only thing about it is the pickups, like it picks the lower strings way better than the higher string. Like the higher strings there's a lot of output. But we just got new pickups. We're trading them out for Dave Ellefson EMG pickups.
Oh, nice. Those will be perfect.
So it's going to be perfect for the bass. I'm just looking forward to that. And then, yeah, that red bass over there is the Yamaha. It's great. It sounds really good. Is that the bass, by the way, that's on a couple of my songs?
Yeah, it's any bass track that I've recorded, it's been that bass.
It sounds great. Yeah, no, so those are all the guitars I mentioned behind me that I didn't. So I'm really proud of everything I own. And by the way, like I said, Wizard of Oz characters. The Strat is Ruby, Ruby Slippers. Emerald City was the green guitar. I have over here, the Tin Man, obviously. Some other things, I'm looking. This one doesn't have a Wizard of Oz name, the PRS, just because it's kind of like its own. It's like the Phoenix guitar for me. And then I have the Flying Monkey, which is like my acoustic. And then I haven't really picked out a name. Oh, no, I remember. I called that one. No, never mind. The blue one I used to have was called the Mighty Munchkin because it was the tiniest, most lightweight guitar I ever owned in my life. And then one more guitar I have to mention real quick is, and this is really funny, the first ever guitar I owned with the tremolo, I said that one was, but it wasn't. It was this shitty $100 special. This guy built him like in his basement. And I really wanted a guitar with the tremolo, but I didn't have any budget. So I just bought this like really crap off like Facebook Marketplace. And so you never know, but the thing was terrible. It was terrible. The pickups were terrible. It played awful. Everything about it. And a couple of the solos on the first like Mythology like demo that I did, like record that I did, that
was that
some
guitar?
of those solos are that guitar because it had this sound that would cut through in a mix because it was so awful that it would fit right in the mix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a bitch to play it. My fingers would like bleed after I'd play it because it was so hard to play. And you want to know what happened to it? Okay, I'm embarrassed to talk about this, but this is a real thing that happened. There was some things going on in my life at the time, and I got really frustrated. And I was done. I wasn't even playing. I had a guitar with a tremolo at that point, so I wasn't even like, I didn't stop playing it. It just sat in a corner for months. And I got up and I was so mad and I was enraged and I fucking Kurt Cobained the guitar.
Oh, you smashed it? Dude.
I smashed it to pieces on tile floor.
Oh, wow.
It was all over the place. It was just gone. Like sometimes you just have to like.
Yeah.
I would never do that again, and I would never do that to an instrument that like a good like quality.
Yeah, a good
but that was the
working
shittiest
instrument.
thing I ever owned in my life, and I just had no interest in playing that ever again. and no one would have wanted it. So it was like, I'm upset right now. I'm just gonna fucking get rid of this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've always wanted to smash a guitar, but I like,
but you can't do it with that kind of guitar.
I could never bring myself to do it with like I don't think I could ever bring myself to
go on
doing
Facebook. Go on Facebook Marketplace and buy one from a random guy who makes them in his basement. You'll bring yourself to do it eventually.
On stage, I'll get the breakable guitars that like Paul Stanley used.
Yeah, it's perfect. I saw your amp, the Boss Katana. You want to laugh? That thing never worked for me. I always tried. I've used Boss Katanas in the past, and I can never get a tone that I liked on them.
Yeah,
and that's the thing about a Boss Katana is half the people you talk to will say they are the greatest amp on earth, and half the people you talk to will say it's the shittiest thing they've ever owned. It's crazy. I think you really have to spend a lot of time with the Katana to get
You have to spend a lot of time to dial it in. Yeah, that's what. Yeah. If you want quick tones, I feel some of the like presets are good in Boss Katana, but they're very specific sounds. But if you're looking for a sound that's not one of those preset tones, then you have to spend a little bit of time. Like you'll be able to get any tone you want out of the Boss Katana. It's just a lot of time.
I agree. What I ended up doing when I was looking for an amp, and I'll show you guys right now. I think I can turn my computer over. If you could see that over there in the corner, that's my Fender Champion 50. So that guitar amp. Here's the thing. I feel like the Katana has some really good modeling. Like if you spend time with it, like you said, you could get really good tones out of that thing. But the clean, you know, that Fender clean sound that you can't get out of anything else. That amp has that Fender clean sound. And what I do is I just use that clean sound. I leave it on clean. I don't use any of the, because frankly, the modeling is terrible on this amp. But the clean sound is that Fender thing that you can't get anywhere else. So I use that, I take advantage of that clean sound, and I just have distortion pedal. And it works. And by the way, I own the shittiest, most memed distortion pedal of all time. And every time, Jonah, you know what I own. But every time I play it, every time I use it and I play live, people come up to me and they go, "What is your tone, man? It sounds so big and full and like distorted." And I show them what I own, and I'm gonna say in a sec, and they always look at me and they're like, "You didn't fucking use that. Where's the where are you hiding your rev? Where are you hiding your Rev 1? Where are you hiding your EVH overdrive?" And I'm like, I don't own that. I own the shittiest distortion pedal on planet Earth that I spent 6 months tweaking almost every day, in the right spots, taking notes, and finally have these exact instructions that I have pictures of that I make sure they are always in, or the amp sounds like complete shit. And that pedal is the Boss Metal Zone.
Metal Zone.
The Metal Zone is awful. But you remember listening to my tone, and you were like, "That's a Metal Zone?" I remember you asking me that. Like,
that's pretty good tone for a Metal Zone.
Which is crazy. Like, for legit, like, it took me so long. You know what everybody does wrong with the Metal Zone?
What?
Is they try to get a metal tone out of it.
Yeah,
they need to rename that, because the second you start adding mid on it, it sounds so much better. Because metal's great with the scooping mids, but when you scoop mid on that pedal, it is god awful. But the second you start adding a little bit of mid in there, and then you compensate for all the brittleness on the amp, you just turn down the treble like a quarter. It's like perfect. This combination is perfect. So, by the way, my pedal, I won't show it. I won't bore everybody, and I want to know your pedal setup in a second. And we've talked about this before, but I have my first thing in my rig is a gate. I use the G1 because forever with the Metal Zone comes a shit ton of noise, and it sounded like an airplane was taking off every time I wasn't playing the guitar. So I added the gate just to get rid of that. Plus, also adding noise is the next thing in my chain, which is my compressor. I have a compressor, which is always on. It's kind of like cheating, but I don't care. It works. It makes me sound like I'm better than I am. So I have the compressor. the distortion. I have an overdrive for like an additional flavor. It's just a Boss overdrive. And then I think the rest of it is I have I have an EQ pedal, which helps with that's the other thing. I have to also use an EQ pedal to help compensate for the metal zone. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing to get that tone right, but it works in that very specific combination. So I have an EQ pedal as well, Boss 7 graph. And then how my gate works is it routes around to there and then comes back. So my gate isn't gating
so it's
than what
one
I have
of the double.
at the end. It's a double, yeah. So it was a most expensive pedal I own, but it was worth it. The other thing that I have in there is basically, it's just a zoom pedal, like a zoom effects pedal.
Oh yeah, those
And
are
that's
good.
just a bunch of effects, but it's not routed through the gate, so it's not squishing all the sound.
Oh nice.
So yeah,
nice.
that's just the live setup though. I don't record any of that though.
What's your recording rig? Do you use a lot of or?
It's nothing specific. I use a bunch of different things, honestly. I've experimented with every kind of amp sim out there. I just use amp sims because, it's easy.
They're
and I can just
easy.
record DI and I could always reamp it. You know what it is? I tried miking an amp and it's so loud and I have neighbors and
Yeah,
it becomes a problem. So I need to turn it up loud to record it. And I just can't have that level of volume. I tried it one time, and like within 2 seconds, I heard banging on the wall, and I was like, "Okay, this isn't gonna work."
Yeah. That's what I love about living in the middle of nowhere is that I can record my amp and just crank it and no one really cares. So with my rig, what I have for my Boss Katana is I pretty much have my guitar going straight into the Boss Katana. I have some pedals on my pedal board, but they're just for fun, like a wah pedal, and then I have one of the Digitech whammy pedals. But my Boss Katana, it's set on the lead channel, which is like it's like a Marshall stack setting, and I have kind of low mids, mid bass, and then a lot of treble. And then I have a tube screamer programmed into the Boss Katana, not adding any distortion. And I have programmed in an EQ in between the head and the cab. That's important for my tone. Having the EQ in between, in the send and return instead of going straight into the front of the amp. It just helps clean it up a bit. I cut out like 500 or a decent amount of 500 and a little bit of 1K boost 2K in the middle. Or I actually lied at the beginning with my initial EQ settings on just like on the amp settings, not the pedal. I have like mid at 6 o'clock, so it's like I'm boosting mids and then cutting mids. So then I get the good parts of boosting the mids, so it cuts through. But then I take out like the ones that make it all muddy.
Yeah, exactly. I think the moral of the story here is, and I think you can agree with this, and I think we can wrap up on this, is there's a lot that goes into rigs, and you think people have like, but there's a lot that's manipulating because either you have obviously the expensive like EVH like 5153 like grand multiple like like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 amps, which then you can just get a tone out of right then and there. But all of these like lower budget tones, like they sound really good. They just take a lot more work, and there's a lot of things you don't see behind the scenes that like each little thing adds a little piece that like makes it a thing and makes it work. And everybody's got a different thing, and at the end of the day, it's taste, for everybody. So. Yeah, no, I think that's pretty cool little inside little thing there. Cool to talk about our rigs, and we'll probably laugh one day at the rigs we're using because we'll probably upgrade to all the shit the tube amps that we're talking about and referring to. But yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up because this has been kind of a long episode. But it's our finale. So
we
before
gotta
we wrap
talk
up,
about
we have one more thing to talk about. Jonah, do you want to do the announcement of what season 3 is going to be?
Yes, I'll do the announcement. Yeah, so
okay, you ready?
During season 3, since we didn't have any guests this season, we are going to have a guest every single episode. So
Every episode.
we'll be
Every
having.
episode's gonna be a guest.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have
Yeah, it's
musical
gonna be
guests
great.
that both Nick
Let's
and I have
fucking
worked
go!
with. Let's go! Yeah, we're gonna
I'm
have.
so excited. Yeah, it's gonna be a ton of people that we've worked with, in different, separately from each other, together. So it's gonna be really interesting to see all these
Yeah, it's
people.
gonna be
Jonah's
fun.
gonna meet some people. I'm gonna meet some people. We're gonna get to reunite with some people.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've talked to some of these people in a call. Because if you guys don't remember, Nick and I met in this program called Music Career Mastermind, and we met a lot of artists.
Yeah, shout out.
Through there. But it's been a minute since we've been in there, so
Yeah,
we might have
gonna
some
be
of the
great.
people from there, and yeah, it's
the
because
first
it's so
episode.
fun.
It's gonna be great. But that's all we're gonna leave you guys on. I want to leave you guys in that feeling of excitement. Of course, we're gonna add the blooper after this. Of course. So get ready to watch Jonah ramble for 10 minutes.
I was just so caught off guard.
Well, you're gonna find out, Jonah.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, my name is Nick Valley,
My name is Jonah Dockenai, and we're
and this is
Rev Rock Revolution.
Revolution. That's a wrap on season 2. Peace.
Hello, Nick. Are you there? It cut out on my end. Oh no, I'm here on my lonesome. Yo, what happened? Oh, Riff. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'm still here. I think so.
Speaker
Yeah, you're on speaker. Yeah, Nick's computer died.
speaking from the future. Everything's a remake of something or a sequel or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like
This is so funny. This is so funny because I thought that my internet cut out because normally it happens on my side. I don't think I can even stop the recording. No, you're not here, but I don't have any option to stop the recording either. Yeah, it's because we're speaking facts and the internet doesn't want us. Oh, my dad's calling me really quickly. We'll just cut this part out of the episode. All right, I'll see you in like a second. It won't let me hang up and join the call. My dad was calling me. Oh, I think he got food.
terrible. You guys don't even want to know the nightmare.
Yeah, I'll talk about. All right, let's see. We just had a single that came out a couple weeks ago called "Only Human." You guys should all go stream it. It's one of my new favorite songs. The solo was a pain in the butt after recording, but yeah, I figured it out. We'll do a little tour around the studio. Or I can't really move the computer, but so over here we have my guitars. Got the Flame Dime Razorback, the purple Schecter. I love the Schecter, the Explorer shape. That's the one I use at all our gigs. And then that's the Ibanez Destroyer. That one is my backup for our live shows. And the camo one I don't really use much of. The neck is super dry. Let's see what else. This is really funny.
I can't figure out this internet situation.
Oh, this is so
Just got an email. I got a call.
Let's go. Dude, that's fun.
You know what? They were working on the internet room today. I bet you some
Oh, right.
communal thing in the lobby. And it was fucking guys. My fire alarm went off. Guys, these construction workers, they just pull things.
Oh, that's not good. You want to try to do this later? Are you gonna try to join on your phone? Will this work? All right, let's see. Oh, wait, I don't think it's sharing right now. Yeah, I think we just. I don't think I can stop the recording. I'm just gonna leave and then go to the up.